Glory be to the Father, to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen and amen. All right, guys, glad to be back with another message for somebody. This was gonna be pretty fun. It's a short word, but it's a pretty fun word for somebody. And this message is gonna be confirmation for a particular person or particular people who are questioning the motives of someone who is in a position of power but is avoiding them and avoiding their request to simply do their job. You're wondering about somebody, you're wondering if the reason why they're being the way they are is because they may have a prejudice against you, and I'm here to confirm that yes, that is the case. However, at the end of the day, you got to keep doing the right thing. You can't let it get to you. You got to keep on pursuing until they do right by you. The name of this sermon is going to be called The Unjust Judge. The Unjust Judge. Somebody has an unjust judge, so to speak, that they're dealing with. It could be a literal judge, or it might just simply be someone who is in some type of power or position to do something for you. They have some type of authority given to them because of maybe some type of degree or certificate that they have, but because of some type of authority position that they are in a position to help you in a way that they should, because it's part of their job, it's part of what they do, but they're avoiding you and they're beating around the bush and you feel like they're pulling your leg or they're avoiding you, and it's all because they're purposely doing this. In other words, it's not that they're just so busy that they can't get to you, that they can't help you, that they can't tend to your case or tend to your situation or tend to helping you in the way that they're supposed to make the change in your life that they're supposed to. They may be acting like they got a lot going on, but really they're just sidestepping you and avoiding you, okay, and ignoring you because of their own personal prejudices and because they're just that type of person that they're picky choosy about who they want to acknowledge and who they want to show regard to. They may dress a certain way and wear their hair a certain way and have a certain demeanor that makes them come across as professional for the sake of their position, but on the inside of them, they're very unprofessional. They may know how to talk a certain way and use some big fancy words, and they may have a certain type of jargon that they've learned that makes them sound super educated in their field or in their specialty, but at the end of the day, on the inside of them, they're very unprofessional, very rude, very disrespectful. They're very much what we call, or what the Bible calls, a respecter of persons. In other words, they're real picky choosy about who they want to respect and who they want to speak kindly to. But with certain people that they think is beneath them or under them, okay, it's different. They treat them differently. They may not show them the same respect or really give them the time of day the way they should, even though their job or title or position requires them to. And so that's what we're going to get into. You're suspicious of why they're being the way they're being. You're wondering if it's because they're holding something personal against you that they shouldn't. And to answer you, yes, they are. They are a very unjust or crooked judge. They're very crooked in their ways. They're very unfair and very unjust. They're very discriminatory and they're very prejudiced. They are very much an unjust judge. We will be in Luke chapter 18, and that's it, Luke 18 verses 1 through 8. And as you're turning there, let me break this down a little bit more. It could be different things, as I've said. It could be a judge that should be dealing with a court case for you, or maybe you're trying to seek somebody about a restraining order. It could be a situation where it's a boss or manager on a job. You've been pursuing them about a promotion or about a raise or something that they should do because you earned it, not just because you've asked for it, but because you and even your coworkers may have even admitted that you should be, if nobody else, you should be the one to get the raise or the promotion. And they know it, but maybe they're beating around the bush because of a personal thing that they have against you that should not be held against you because it has nothing to do with the job or task at hand. Okay, it could be simply an older family member that is treating you way different than certain other people in the family. Maybe treating you different than the other siblings or whatever it may be. And maybe they should be passing or handing something down to you for whatever reason or another, though they're trying to give it to somebody who maybe just stepped in the picture recently. You know what I mean? They want to hand it over to someone who has not really been there for them or haven't been there for them very long, and you're wondering why you're being left out in the dust, so to speak. It could be a variety of things. Maybe you were part of a friend circle, a group, some type of organization, and maybe you're trying to do big things, trying to do great things, but the people around you have a bit of a crabs in a barrel or crabs in a bucket mentality. In other words, the more you try to go up, the more they want to pull you down. They're so afraid of you going so much further ahead of them in life or in whatever you're trying to do, failing to acknowledge the fact that you're not just trying to get ahead, but that you're trying to obtain a certain level or certain goal so that you can then turn around and bless them. But they're so caught up in their pride and their jealousy that they can't open their eyes to the fact that you being blessed means them being blessed in return. They just look at it as, why you? Why not me? And so they would rather hold you down and pull you back rather than wish you well. Come on. And you wonder why. It's because of personal prejudices that they have against you that they shouldn't have. They're holding things against you that they shouldn't because you've been good to them and you've done right by them, but they're holding something against you to keep you from getting ahead. Whoever this is for, somebody or some people owe you. They owe you big time. It could be, like I said, it could be promotions or raises. It could be money that they owe you. And I don't mean just borrowed money. It could be that you got some people that have stolen from you, whether you know it or not. They've stolen from you. Whether it be money that they stole, whether it be things that they stole. For some of you, folks have stolen opportunities from you, and here you are trying to create opportunities for people, and the same people you're trying to create opportunities for have stolen opportunities and chances from you, and now they're trying to steal this current opportunity from you, not paying attention to the fact that if you get that opportunity, you can take that opportunity to open up more doors for them, but they would rather shut you down because of what they're holding against you that should not be held against you. So for some of you, it could be apologies. A person or some people really owe you some apologies that they're refusing to apologize for. In fact, they may even be going around apologizing to any and everybody but you, right? They're going around you, swerving you, sidestepping you, ducking and dodging you, bobbing and weaving from you like it's a boxing match, but they'll go to everybody else and apologize to them. Come on. So you got some person or some people who are being very unjust to you. You put in the work. Even if they want to be in denial and try to lie on you and say you're lazy, try to say that you're undeserving, try to say that you're unworthy and act like it should be them, even though they didn't put in the work and even though they didn't suffer the way you suffered, they didn't, go home hurting or go home crying or go home feeling betrayed the way that you did. Come on. They went through what you went through. They didn't suffer the way you did. They didn't work the way you work. They didn't learn the things that you went through, the process to learn, but they are so entitled that they feel indebted to whatever good thing comes your way, like they Burger King, like they got to have it their way. And that's the problem. They have a sense of entitlement because of their position, because of the authority bestowed upon them. And for some folks, listen, it might not even be that they have a degree or certificate. In some situations, you have a person who they have a power or some type of authority, but they have it because it was given to them, but not necessarily because they earned it. And sometimes those are the very people who can be the most arrogant. They can be the people who feel so entitled to everything that they want, all because they're used to things being given to them. In other words, they're spoiled adults. They're adults who are spoiled rotten like a child would be, and that's the reason why behind closed doors, they act like the biggest overgrown adults or biggest overgrown babies. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. They act like overgrown babies. They act like toddlers in their terrible twos. They don't get their way and they're going to pitch a big fit and fall out in the floor and act a fool. Come on. And they can't stand to see any good thing come your way. All because of their personal prejudices against you. Well, what is it? You might say, what is it? And for some of you, you probably already know what it is. For some of you, they're simply holding your race against you. Maybe you're black or Hispanic or whatever, but listen, maybe you're a foreigner and you have an accent. Maybe you done came over here and you listen, you've been working hard and you're living your best life. And you got people who have something against you. They're holding the fact that you're a little different or you speak a little different or your hair is a little different against you. Speaking of hair, it could just be that you dye your hair different colors. Many of you, I have my hair orange. Some people dye it teal or purple or whatever, fire engine red, if you will. And you got some folks, they act like just because you like to dye your hair different colors, that you're just unworthy, which blows my mind. You can't have nothing nice. You can't have a nice position. You can't make good money because you dyed your hair or you got a tattoo on your arm or you got a piercing in your nose. Meanwhile, they're dressed clean cut and act a doggone fool any chance they get and any time they don't get what they want. Because they think that outer appearance makes them professional and it makes them more worthy. And at home, they're nasty. Come on. Listen, I'm going to get down to it on this one. And listen, behind the scenes, when they're dressed down, they're nasty. Never mind. Let's keep going. But it could be your style. It could be your race or skin tone. It could be your hair. It could be that you're trans. You see, I'm wearing my trans dudes are hotter shirt today. But anyway, but it could be that you're trans and they hold that against you, even though it's not something that should be held against you in this particular scenario. They're holding something against you. It could be your age, whether you're a young adult or you're a senior citizen. Maybe they hold that against you. Maybe you have a disability that doesn't affect what it is that you're doing. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be held against you, but they think less of you because of that disability. But they're holding a personal prejudice against you, whatever it may be. And whoever this is for, you listen, you have suspected that they're holding something against you that they shouldn't, and they're using that as a reason to justify in their mind how they treat you. But it doesn't make it okay. Let's get into this. The Unjust Judge, Luke chapter 18. We'll start here at verse 1, just reading verses 1 through 8. It says this, "And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, There was in a city a judge which feared not God, neither regarded man. And there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, Avenge me of mine adversary. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, Though I fear not God, nor regard man, yet because this widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continually coming she weary me. Oh, come on. And the Lord said, Hear what the unjust judge saith. And shall not God avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them? I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. So Jesus here is giving a parable to people, and he's using a situation with an unjust judge or a crooked judge, and how he treats this widow woman. And he uses this to explain how, even though he's being unjust, and even though he's holding this woman back from getting what is due unto her, he ends up having to bless her. He ends up having to put his own pride and arrogance aside to do what's right for this woman. And he explains that, listen, if an unjust judge can at some point avenge someone who is crying out to him, you should know that our Father in heaven, who listens to his people cry out to him, will at one point or another avenge his people. Because our God is a very just judge, not an unjust one. So if the unjust one at some point will do the right thing, surely our just judge, our Father in heaven, will avenge us at the time that he sees fit. So there are certain things I really want to break down in this. First, we see that in verse 3, this woman, when she comes to this judge, she's saying, Avenge me of mine adversary. So what she's saying to this judge is, help me, vindicate me, or defend me against my adversary or my enemy. So this woman, this widow woman, is coming to this judge, and I love how it points out the fact that she's a widow woman. The fact that she's a woman says a lot, because a lot of times, in biblical times, a lot of times people really weren't really treating women very well. They were very much, a lot of times, treated like second-class citizens. And then you throw in the fact that she's a widow. So, she may have been married, but the spouse has passed on, and so maybe she's still alone. So it's almost like saying not only is she a woman, but she's in a very vulnerable situation. She's a very helpless woman, and so she's crying out to this judge to help her to make a decision using his power and authority that he has to help her. She's saying, hey, your job is to help me. Please help me. And this judge is really avoiding doing what he's supposed to be doing. And he's really just taking advantage of the fact that she's in such a helpless, vulnerable situation. She may not have a man to come on, and come get in his face and say, listen, my wife or my mother or my sister or my cousin just came to you and said, help her. You might want to help her. Because my fist in your face, my fist in your face might have a situation here in a minute. So you might want to help her out. So she might not have that backup. See what I'm saying? To come get in this judge's face, and this judge knows that. So he might be taking advantage of her helpless situation. So he beats around the bush about it. But what ends up happening is this. It says that, of course, he didn't really regard God or man. So he's a very godless man who could care less about doing the right thing by people, which is weird because his job is to be a judge. So if he's a judge, you would think he would have a heart for the people. Even if he doesn't believe in God, you would at least think he would regard the people that he works for, the people that he's supposed to rule rightfully for, the people that are in the right. You would think he would go to their rescue and help them and rule in the favor of the righteous, but he could care less. And unfortunately, even though we have a lot of great judges and police officers and this and that in the world, and I thank y'all for it, we all know that we also have, unfortunately, very crooked cops and crooked judges and crooked this and crooked that. And it's bad when you got people in positions like that who are crooked, because those are types of jobs and positions and professions where people should want to do the right thing, because that's literally the point of their job, is to defend the helpless, to help people, right? But anyway, but what happens is, it says this. It said that he said within himself, even though I don't fear God and even though I don't fear man, because this widow woman troubles me. In other words, because this woman will not leave me alone, I will go ahead and avenge her unless she continues to worry me. In other words, he's saying, listen, I could care less about this woman, because really I could care less about anybody. I'm just doing what I'm doing because of the money, or because I like being in this position of power to control people. But with this particular woman, I'm going to go ahead, and not only am I going to hear her out, not only am I going to deal with her case, I am going to rule in her favor, because she will not leave me alone. And if I don't do this, she's going to continue to get on my last nerve. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do what she's asking me to do. And it shouldn't have taken all that. But there are things that I want to say, a lot of P words here. The key for this, for you, whoever this is for, is prayer and pursuit. Prayer and pursuit. It says here again in verse 1, it says that he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and faint not. So pray and don't give up when pursuing God. So whoever this is for, you should pray and pursue God, but you should also not give up on pursuing this person who is doing you wrong. In other words, don't let them up, don't give up, don't let them forget, don't let them ignore you. Continue to pursue what's rightfully yours. So prayer, and pursuit. So here's some other P words. When it comes to this person, their problem is pride and prejudice. They're prideful and arrogant, and they're full of prejudice, which is a hindrance unto you. But you got to continue to pray and pursue. Stand on business. Don't give up. But other than you praying and being in pursuit, there's something else that's into play. Other than prayer and pursuit, other than pride and prejudice, it's this. Listen to this, because this is going to be key as well. Listen to me. Persistence and being unpredictable. See, this person has pride and prejudice, but what they were not expecting of you was your persistence. In other words, they thought you would try to pursue them a few times and then give up. But the thing that's going to really get them is your persistence. Because remember, the dude in this story said, listen, she getting on my nerves. She ain't going to leave me alone. So I might as well listen to her and rule in her favor and give her what she wants. Otherwise, she going to get on my last nerve. And I ain't never dealt with this before. I ain't never had somebody, especially somebody who seems to be helpless, have such a braveness and be willing to not give up. They ain't gonna give this up. They gonna keep pursuing. I ain't never had somebody pursue me like this before. Usually people just leave it alone, especially those who are in a position where they ain't really got nothing on me. But I'm gonna do it different this time. I'm gonna help this one out. So this person is not expecting you to continue to be persistent. So you don't just pursue once or twice, you keep pursuing the matter. You keep standing up for yourself. You keep saying, no, 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 no. I'm not going to let up on this because I deserve what I deserve. And I'm not going to be ignored and I'm not going to be ran over and I'm going to hold you to your end of the bargain. You have a job. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you signed up for. This is the promise you made to me. And that's for somebody right there. Somebody made you a promise. They may have shook hands with you and said, listen, you do this, and after a certain period of time, I'm going to do that. Listen, they may have said, listen, we negotiated this deal or this contract, and after a certain amount of months or after a year or after 2 years, this is what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to make this deal with you. I'm going to work this out with you. And now the time has gone by, and now they done got quiet. They don't want to answer your text. They don't want to answer your call. You come to their job, and they want to duck and dodge you. Come on. You know they're talking to everybody else, but they act like they ain't nowhere near around. When you come on the scene, they know the promise they made. They know the deal that they made. They know the handshake that they had. They know the contract that they signed. So now it's their time to do what they're supposed to do. And listen, stand 10 toes down on it. So they're not expecting you to be persistent, the persistency, but what they're also not expecting is your unpredictability. See, they expect you to be predictable. See, they're the type of person, they have this I already got it figured out mindset. They think they already know all about a person based off of looking at them or based off of knowing a particular detail about somebody. They're a know-it-all. Oh, she's a woman, so she's this. Oh, they're black, so they're this. Oh, they're gay, so they're this. Oh, they're trans, so they're this. Oh, they're young, so they must be gullible. Oh, they're old, so they must not have somebody to help them out. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. So they got you all figured out based off of your appearance or based off of one fact that they're prejudiced of. And so they, listen, in their mind, you're predictable. But what's throwing them off their game is how unpredictable you are and how you're handling the situation different from what they expected. See, they may have thought that because you're black, you're automatically going to get angry and be quote unquote ghetto and wild out on them. But because you're handling the situation so professionally, they don't know how to deal with it. They ain't seen it before. Come on. So not only are you being persistent in pursuing them, you're doing it in a respectful, professional manner, and it's making them feel some kind of way because they're the ones that's supposed to be professional, but your professionalism is showing them up. Come on. Come on, somebody. Your professionalism is showing them up. It's making them look a certain kind of way, and now it's making them feel some kind of way because now they know they ain't right. And they ain't really felt conviction for how they're doing you like this before with anybody else in their past. They ain't going to know how to handle it. So now, between the fact that you're persistent and you're unpredictable, mixed in with a little bit of conviction, now the heat is on. The heat is turned up. And so now they're in a situation, or you're about to put them in a situation where they say, you know what? Let me do what I'm supposed to do. Let me do my job. Let me go ahead and do what I'm actually supposed to do. It should have already been done. Let me do it, because if I don't, they're not going to leave me alone, and I can't hold anything against them because not only are they in the right, but they've not done anything to put them in the wrong. In other words, they ain't yelled and screamed at me, they ain't cussed me out, they ain't threatened me, they ain't came to my house and slashed my tires. They come on, they ain't sent no threatening emails. They haven't come to my job to put me on blast. They may have came to talk to me, but they didn't put me on blast in front of folks. So because they have not done anything to put them in the wrong, I'm now in the wrong, and now I'm in a situation where now I got to do right. Because if I don't, I'm going to have to keep dealing with this. So now let me go ahead and do what I know I need to do. That's the position that you're putting them in. See, you're in a tough spot because they're avoiding ruling in your favor, regardless of what this situation may be. They're avoiding it, and so it's putting you in a tough spot. And them making this change or this decision or this ruling or this change of the contract or whatever it is they're supposed to be doing, when they do this, it'll make life much easier on you, depending on what your situation is that you need them to change or fix in your favor. But because they're leaving you in a tough spot, now, because of how you're going about it, it's putting them in a tough spot. And so now they have to look and say, okay, I'm putting this person in a tough spot. It was funny and it was entertaining, but now I'm starting to see that for the first time, now it's affecting me. Now I gotta watch my texts and watch my calls and duck and dodge and watch my back, depending on where I'm going. Now people are looking at me funny because they know what's going on. Because now other people have talked to this person about me, and so they know what's going on. So now I'm paranoid. And they ain't gonna leave me alone, and they haven't done anything wrong that I can hold against them to avoid them. So I need to stop avoiding them and go ahead and acknowledge them and do what I need to do. That's what's happening. Listen, whoever this is for, you're right. You're right about what's going on. I'm not saying you got to go and call them out on it. All I'm saying is continue to pray on it, continue to pursue, continue to be persistent in holding them to what they're supposed to do about you, and continue to be unpredictable. Don't give them a negative reaction against them that they're expecting from you. Don't do it. Don't fall for the trap, but at the same time, don't fall for the okie doke, as they say. Okay, continue to stand on business, stand up for yourself, and continue to do what's right for yourself until they do right by you as well. And so with that said, that's it. Simple, quick word. Heavenly Father, I thank you for another time to minister another word. I'm praying that this message would be confirmation to somebody, that it will bless them, that it would encourage them to not give up. That's going to be a key for them right now, is simply to not give up. Listen, they may be growing tired, they may be growing weary of this pursuit and in being persistent, but I pray, Lord, that they not give up. And I also pray that they don't get so frustrated that they blow their top, that they end up doing or saying something that they shouldn't. Lord, I pray that they continue to remain calm and professional until the one who's supposed to be professional actually decides to do the right thing. Lord, I give you all the praise, all the glory, and all the honor. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.